my name's Dan Green and welcome to these beginner slide guitar tutorials. Lesson 1, we're going to be talking about just what slides are available on the market, different materials you can get them in, and the tones that they offer. Later on in Lesson 2, we're going to be talking about basic slide technique, an exercise you can do to start getting a good sweet smooth tone out of your slide and guitar. And later on in lessons 3, 4 and 5 we're going to look at some more complicated exercises for you to do, and eventually we're going to learn a good old traditional Delta blues song. So first on the menu we have here an old traditional bottleneck slide. And quite literally this was the top of a wine bottle, and it was cut off, and the top here then was sanded back and buffed up and made smooth so it was safe to use. Now glass slides tend to offer quite a warm tone, quite a smooth warm tone, and especially if you can get a glass slide which is very thick like this, it tends to give a lot of sustain off your strings. So I'll play a few riffs and you can hear what the glass bottleneck slide sounds like. That's a bottleneck slide, and a good warm balanced tone, not too high in the trebles and not too low either. So the next slide I have on the menu today is a brass slide. So this is a metal slide obviously. It's very very thin. The brass slides are quite short and sharp sounding, you know, real quite a hard attack to them, and not a lot of sustain. I'm sure if you got a much heavier, thicker brass slide you could get more sustain out of it, but I think it's the tone that's quite unique to these slides. So if you have a listen, quite short and sharp, not a lot of bass, and here we go. You can hear it, it's got a short sharp attack and not a lot of sustain. So that's a brass slide, and yeah, it definitely has its uses. Next we have a chrome slide, and some of these are brass and then chrome coated, others I think are just solid brass. And of the metallic slides, this is probably the warmest I've ever heard. Again, it's very metallic sounding and has quite a short sharp attack to it, but just offers a tad more sustain to it. Here we go. So again you can hear it's quite high on the treble end, not a lot of bass. That's a chrome slide, and yeah, it's definitely got its uses again. And remember, this is all personal preference. It can come down to what guitar you're using, the strings you're using, whether it's electric, acoustic, whether or not your guitar is set up very well for slide or not, and all these can play a factor into what slide you might prefer to use. Next on the menu we have this. Now this is a mud slide. It's a ceramic or porcelain slide, and they're all handmade, these ones. And they are a big, fat, heavy slide, and they're a pleasure to use. Now these offer a very rich, warm, rounded, smooth tone, quite bassy, with a lot of sustain, and like I said, really smooth. So this is what the mud slide, porcelain mud slide, sounds like. Really smooth. I tend to play slower with this slide because the notes last longer. So that's a really lovely slide to use, and there are other slides on the market that I haven't looked at today. There is Pyrex, which is a type of glass, and they come in various thicknesses and again offer quite a smooth tone, the Pyrex, and again depending on the thickness it sort of helps with the sustain or lack of. So that's it for lesson 1, slides and the different types of materials. Carry on looking at the next lessons. I'm going to start talking about slide technique. I'm going to show you a very basic slide lesson exercise that you can use to start developing your technique and hopefully getting a nice, smooth, clear, clean tone out of your slide. Thanks for watching.